Dolphins. Welcome to Dolphins.
Pregame.com.
And welcome back, pregame.tv. Ken Thomson, Dave Cokin, second of 4 videos, second of 2 college videos. Dave Cokin going to take a look at Rutgers, the boys from Jersey, first year in the Big Ten. They are at home in Piscataway, taking on a Michigan Wolverine team that has been a mess. Yes, everything off the field also being magnified big time right now.
Well, that's the whole key here. And it has to impact your power ratings or your opinion, if you're not using numbers, on the Michigan Wolverines. I've been doing this for a long, long time. And you can tell, see that, that's the, you know, I've never had a team lose this much ground in power ratings, ever. And this is over 30 years where I've been making college football numbers. I've never had a team downgrade this much in a month. Unless, no, even with mitigating circumstances like a bunch of injuries and stuff like that, this team is 11 points worse on my numbers than they were before the season started. I've never, and that's in 4 weeks. Wow, they are an absolute train wreck right now, and I understand when they put the number up on Sunday, a couple of the pro bettors came in and took Michigan. Well, they're number crunchers, and if you look at this, Michigan, getting 3, I think they were 3.5 at one point against Rutgers, so it might fit in the numbers. But the extraneous stuff that's going on has a huge impact here. This program is a complete disaster right now. I think they need to, look, maybe if they win this, sometimes you have these situations where a team will get an us against the world mentality, and they'll come out and they'll get galvanized and perform really well. So maybe that happens on Saturday with Michigan. They're getting out of Ann Arbor where all the heat is, and maybe it'll be good for them. But boy, I think that's a long shot. And to me, I think Brady Hoke's got to go now, because I think the team is tossing in the towel. It's one thing when you forget the score in the Notre Dame game. It wasn't a 31-0 game. It was a lot closer than that. Right. There were just things that happened, and the score got out of hand. And you could look at one of the other games and say, well, that wasn't really that bad a performance. But they got smoked by Minnesota last week. I mean, they got just destroyed in that game, and that was at home. And to me, that's a sign that this has reached catastrophic proportions. Hoke's going to be gone anyway.
Right.
If you want to get a better effort out of the team the rest of the year, assuming they lose again this weekend, I just say that's it. We're going to cut ties. Go with an interim guy the rest of the year. You'll get a better effort out of the team, because right now they're on the verge of tossing it in completely. And and there's more stuff happening now. You had this incident with the kid on the field who gets a concussion last week and then ends up staying in the game because the trainer apparently didn't have the guts to say, sorry, coach, he can't go in. The coach is saying, I didn't see the play. It's 2014, coach. Put on some freaking headsets. Okay, there's no excuse for you not to know what's going on the field. I understand you've got the worst view out there because it's congested on the sidelines and just the angle is not the best. Any coach will tell you that. That's why you've got guys up in the booths that can actually talk to you. This is new thing. It's called like a walkie-talkie device, and they can actually sit in the booth and then talk to you on the sidelines and tell you what's going on, so that you don't have the excuse, oh, I didn't see what happened. I thought the guy was a good coach at Ball State and at San Diego State.
Yeah.
But apparently this is the real big time, and some coaches aren't made for the real big time, and it kind of looks like Brady Hoke might be about to go there, and Jim Harbaugh might be about to move in.
What was your take on Rich Rod? I thought they gave up on Rich Rod too early without him getting his players in there.
But the problem I had with Rich Rod was he insisted on running his own system with Lloyd Carr's players. What are you doing? If you're a head coach, you've got to be versatile enough to work a system that's going to bring out the strengths in what you've got. You can eventually transition to what you have as you bring in your type of players, but he's running spread option with guys who never had no familiarity with spread option, and quite frankly weren't the right athletes for it, and the results were predictable from that standpoint. You can't just take your West Virginia offense and move over to Ann Arbor and say, we're going to run the same thing when you get completely different players. So that, to me, was bad coaching.
There you go. No doubt. All right, David Cokin, this is your free play. Let's go ahead and let's make it official.
Rutgers is playing their second Big Ten home game here. And if you watch the first matchup with Penn State, well, they should have won the game. Nova made some mistakes, and they outplayed Penn State for basically 35 minutes of that, or 55 minutes of that game, and managed to lose it. But the excitement level was definitely there. They love it. These North Jersey fans absolutely love Rutgers being in the Big Ten. I haven't seen this kind of attitude regarding Rutgers football, I think, ever. And at least in my lifetime, and I'm in my 60s, so that's a long freaking time, all right? So Rutgers is going to be fired up for this game. They like the idea of here comes Michigan. It's Michigan. And as many problems as Michigan has, they still got that name and that big M and all that tradition. And Rutgers and their fans are going to be fired up for this football game. And it's important to note Rutgers bounced back with a couple of decent efforts. Navy, and then last week they smashed a team they were supposed to smash. So they're back in good form. You contrast that with Michigan, which is off the rails right now. Train wreck. I think I mentioned that before. Yeah, it is. If Rutgers can go out, if Michigan can go out and somehow gather their composure and play a good football game here, they got better personnel than Rutgers. They got more depth than Rutgers. But right now, they're just a complete mess. And I'm of the opinion you just play against Michigan until they prove you wrong. I'm going to take Rutgers minus the points in this game for my free play. And it's definitely on my personal card as well. There you go. And Devontae Gardner has been anything but consistent there for Michigan. Nova, not the most consistent. Got a good receiver in Carew. And again, that home crowd will be. Yeah, they're a little. They got a couple of guys beat up. But I don't think it matters. I think Michigan right now is straight fade material. And we're not talking about laying 8 here. Okay? I actually, on my numbers now, off the adjustments I've made, I have Rutgers at -8 in this game. Now, that may not be the same as anybody else's numbers. We all use different things to come up with our numbers. That's mine. So I'm actually getting value and still being able to go against this team with completely negative momentum right now. I like that. I'm going to be all over it, Dave. You've been hot here on pregame.tv, so I might as well stay with you. And, of course, being a Jersey boy, I don't mind watching Rutgers. Hey, that's right. Go. All right. When we come back, we'll have an NFL video. We actually have 2 NFL videos. We'll start it with the Colts and the Ravens. That game from Indianapolis, that'll be my play. And then Dave will give you the Sunday night total from New England, Cincinnati. We'll have both those plays when we come back, pregame.tv.